Hi everyone, welcome today. Our class is going to be focused on our low back. So it's going to be a short sequence, it's going to be nice and slow, and we are going to work on just warming up our spine a little bit and then stretching into our low back, and then also the muscles that I guess kind of feed into or meet up in our low back. So like our psoas muscle, which goes into our hip flexors, and then also our glutes. And we'll even work on our hamstrings a little bit today. And so in terms of props, you don't need any props for today's practice. I will give some variations and modifications. And so if you'd like, you could grab a blanket or two. If you don't have a yoga blanket, any blanket will do, or even some beach towels or bathroom towels would work, a stack of those. I'm also going to show you how you could use a strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could use a belt or maybe like a light hand towel. It's really just about giving your arm a little extra length on some of our stretchier postures. I'm going to show you how to use blocks for one of our postures. They're not required. And so if you don't have blocks, that's just fine. You may also want to have some type of bolster that I have back here, or even just a pillow, a couch pillow or a bed pillow would work just fine. And so let's get started. We are going to start today in child's pose. So come to kind of like a hands and knees posture, toe mounds touch, and then we're going to open up our knees towards the long edges of our mat, send our hips back towards our heels, extend our arms long, and we're going to try to rest our forehead down on the mat. If your forehead doesn't make it to the mat, you can grab one of your blankets or maybe even a block and bring the earth up to you. We're just going to pause here for a few breaths. Get settled into this practice. If it feels nice, maybe press into your fingertips or into your palms. Just send your hips back a little bit further. We'll take one more breath in, one more full breath out. And then inhale here, find that long spine. And exhale, begin to walk your hands towards the left side of the mat. Inhale, feel that expansion in your right rib cage. Exhale, maybe press into the mat to send your hips down and back. We'll stay here for one more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale or return to center. And exhale, let's take it to the other side. So walk your hands over towards the right. Inhale, feel that expansion this time in your left rib cage. Exhale, maybe press into those fingertips or palms and send your hips down and back. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, return to center. And then as you're ready, we're going to begin to walk our hands back and rise our hips up to hands and knees. So our wrists are under our elbows, elbows under our shoulders, and our knees are under our hips. Your toes can be tucked or untucked here, whatever feels comfortable for you. And let's start to find just a little bit of integrity through our belly. So if you feel like your back's starting to sag here, press away from the earth. Try to pull your belly button in towards your spine, away from your shirt. And we're going to make our way into a few cat-cows. So on an inhale, begin to tilt your tailbone up, drop your belly, pull your shoulders back to open up through your chest, gaze lifts, Uttanasana, cow pose. Exhale, begin to tuck your tailbone, round through your spine, press away from the mat and drop your crown, Marjarasana, cat pose. Move at the pace of your breath. So inhale begins to bring you into this cow pose. Feel that widening through your collarbones. And exhale is going to take you into cat pose. And on this one, feel that stretch or that widening in between your shoulder blades. Keep moving at the pace of your breath and let your breath guide the movement. So before we move into cat, exhale just a moment beforehand. And take an inhale just a moment before you begin to tilt your tailbone to come into cow. Our spine moves like a wave here. So we start at our tailbone each time, and we're moving one vertebra at a time up our spine. Let's take one more cow pose, one more cat pose, wherever you are. And when you're done, we're all going to meet in a neutral tabletop again. From here, if your toes are untucked, let's tuck them. We're going to begin to make our way into our first down dog. So as you're ready, begin to ground down through both palms, through all 10 knuckles, and then send your hips back and up. And take your time here. Feel free to pedal into your feet. In downward facing dog, we really want to focus on creating this long spine. So we are using our abdominal muscles a little bit here, and we're using them and engaging them to send our hips up and back a little bit higher. Maybe on an exhale, reach your crown down towards the earth. So we're creating this space between our ears and our shoulders. If it feels right to you, find stillness here. And it's okay if your heels are lifted or if there's a bend in your knee. Just focus on that straight back right now. Let's take one more breath in. Full breath out. And inhale, begin to walk your feet up towards your hands. Take your time here. You can move over a few breaths. Really slow baby steps. And as you find your way up here, on an exhale, we're going to meet in a forward fold. So generous knee bend. You can even rest your chest on your thighs. Release through the back of your neck. Let your crown reach down towards the ground. Long spine here. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, let's rise to half lift. So hands might come up to shins. We're reaching our crown forward and we're sending our sacrum back. And we're engaged still through our core just to support our low back and our spine. On an exhale, fold. And inhale, one vertebra at a time. We're going to rise up to extended mountain. So we're rising to standing, then we're going to extend our arms overhead, gaze up past your fingertips. Exhale, release your arms, mountain pose. So we're going to warm up our spine just a little bit here, our spine, our low back, even our hamstrings. Inhale, arms send up, extended mountain, gaze lifts. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to half lift. Exhale, release to forward fold. And inhale, one vertebra at a time, rise all the way up to extended mountain. Arms sweep up and overhead, gaze lifts. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, arms sweep up and overhead, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, forward fold. So hang out here for just another breath or two. And on an inhale, you can begin to shift your weight into your right foot. And exhale, send your left foot back into this low lunge, drop your back left knee. And so from here, you don't need to, but if it feels nice and you have a blanket or towel available, you might want to just put that underneath of your knee to pad your knee. And we're going to come into a nice hip flexor stretch. So begin to send your hips forward and down, and then open up through your chest. So give yourself a nice shoulder roll back. Maybe we're lifting up to our fingertips here. Or maybe if you have those blocks, this would be a great place to bring your hands to blocks. to take a moment to settle into this posture. Stretching through our hip flexors is a great place to start when we're thinking about our lower back, because our psoas muscle wraps from our hip flexors all the way into our low back. And so a lot of people with really tight hips can experience back pain and discomfort. Take one more breath in, full breath out. Inhale here, and then on an exhale, we're going to begin to send our hips up and back, straightening through our right leg, and then rocking up on our heels so our toes are pointed up towards the sky. And we're coming into this kind of single leg forward fold. We'll pause here for a moment. Sometimes there's this tendency here to send our tailbone down towards the earth. I want you to try to keep it lifted. So if there was a wall right behind you, you're trying to lift your sitting bones to sit on that wall. If you feel like your hips are starting to turn out, think about pulling your right thigh back into the hip socket, and that'll kind of help square you up a little bit. One more breath in, one more breath out. Inhale, begin to send your hips forward and down. We're going to come back into that hip flexor stretch. Now we're going to start moving at the pace of your breath. So take another breath in here. And exhale, send your hips up and back. Inhale, hips come forward and down. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward and down. So long, straight spine here as you're moving. Keep your neck this extension of your spine. So we're not one or the other. We're just letting it move with our body. One more. I'm exhaling to send our hips up and back. One more time, inhaling to send our hips. Gently step our right knee back to hands and knees. And we're going to take it to the other side. So if you liked having this padding, maybe shift it over to your right knee. And then as you're ready, begin to step your left foot up and through. And we're going to make our way into that hip flexor stretch. So begin to send your hips forward and down. Just like we did on the other side, we're opening up through our front body. So give yourself a nice shoulder roll back, open up through your chest. Maybe that means lifting up to your fingertips. Maybe that means bringing your hands to blocks. Take a moment here to really find this posture in your body. Long neutral spine. Your gaze can be open or even closed down if it feels nice. Let's take one more breath in. And exhale, begin to lift your hips and send them back, straightening through our left leg this time, rocking onto our left heel. Left toes pointed up towards the sky. And take a moment on this side. It's important to kind of stop and pause and feel the posture in your body before we begin to flow, so that you know where you're going. So again, if you're starting to feel your hips turn out towards the right, pull that left thigh bone back into your hip socket. And that'll help keep both hip points shining forwards and help support our low back as we're stretching into our hamstrings. One more inhale. One more exhale. Inhale, begin to send your hips forward and down. Open up through your chest. Just like on the other side, we're going to move at the pace of our breath. So one more breath in here. And exhale, send your hips up and back. And keep moving at the pace of your breath. Nice. Inhale, send us forward. And exhale, send us back with our hips up and back. Last time, on your next inhale, send your hips forward and down, and we're going to come back to hands and knees. So take your time, plant your hands, send your left foot back, remove any blankets or towels that you have supporting your knees. And from here, we're going to come into a revolved child's pose. So inhale, begin to open up to the right side wall, right fingertips sweep up towards the sky. And exhale, we're going to thread the needle. So send your hands through the space between your left arm and left thigh and drop your shoulder down into the earth. Left hand can stay planted, or maybe it extends long overhead. Or you bend into your elbow and kind of create this bind behind your back to help open up your chest a little bit more. One more breath in. Full breath out. Inhale here. And on your exhale, plant your left hand by your left shoulder. Inhale, unwind and open back up. Right fingertips up towards the sky. Exhale, return to hands and knees. We're going to take it to the other side. So inhale, open up to the left fingertips reach up towards the sky. Exhale, thread the needle, left shoulder comes down to the earth, and find that position that feels good in your right arm. So maybe that's keeping your right hand planted. Maybe that's extending it long overhead. Or maybe that's opening up through your chest even more by bringing your arm into a bind behind your back. One more breath in. Full breath out. Inhale here. And then exhale, plant your right hand by your right shoulder. Inhale, unwind, open back up. And exhale, release back to hands and knees. Very nice. So let's all come to a comfortable seat for a moment while I chat with you about our next posture. And so for our next posture, we're going to be coming into a side bend, followed by a forward fold over one extended leg. And so you can choose to either extend both legs and keep them extended as we come into these stretches on both sides. Or if this is going to be uncomfortable for you, your option is to bend into the opposite knee and bring that sole of your foot to the inside lining of your extended leg. And so you can choose whatever option feels best to you. Another thing that you can do is if you have a blanket or a towel, you can bring that under your sitting bones to give you a little bit of lift. And when we're folding over an extended leg, bringing our hips up over our knee can sometimes help create a little bit more space and let you fold a little bit deeper into that stretch when your low back's feeling tight. So I'm going to let everybody take a moment to get to the position that feels best for them. If you're going to extend both of your legs, we're going to extend them, to about 90 degrees. And we're going to flex into both ankles, bringing both of our toes up towards the sky. You're welcome to stay here. Or if you'd like, maybe we're bending into our left knee and bringing the sole of our left foot to the inside lining of our right foot. Wherever you are, inhale, we're going to extend our left arm overhead. And exhale, we're going to begin a side bend to the right. So slide your right hand down the outside of your right leg. Maybe we reach our toes. Maybe we just reach our shins or our thighs. But wherever you are, send some deep breaths to your lower belly because this is a really intense stretch on our low back. Inhale. Feel your left rib cage stacked on top of your right. So we're not rolling over here. We're lifting up through this left side body. Take a couple more breaths. Make sure that your neck is nice and long and neutral. We're not cranking it any which way here. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, rise up. Keep this arm extended. On an exhale, release that arm and begin to twist to the right so that our sternum is shining over our big toe. Inhale here, try to reach your crown up towards the sky to create space in your spine. And then on an exhale, we're going to begin to try to fold over our right leg. And so this stretch is called nose to knee pose. But instead of thinking of our nose to knee, which kind of causes us all to round through our back, I want you to think about trying to bring your chest towards your knee. Oh, hello. And so you can either grab the outsides of your foot here. You can keep your hands down on the mat, or maybe bring them up to your thigh if we're still working through some sensation in our low back. Let's take a couple more breaths. On your next exhale, inhale, rise up. Exhale, release here. And you can begin to unwind. And so now if you're in this wide-legged stance, you can stay right there. Otherwise, the rest of us are going to switch. So extend your left leg long, bend into your right knee, bring the sole of your right foot to the inside lining of your left thigh. And on an inhale, let's extend our right arm overhead. Exhale, we're going to come into that side bend first. So reach down the outside of your left leg with your left hand and lift your right rib cage up towards the sky. So again, don't worry so much about where your left hand rests. Maybe it's by our foot, maybe it's up by your shin, or maybe it's up here by our thigh, and that's okay. Right, Brewster? Tell him it's okay. Wherever you are, just focus on your neck. Nice long neck. Oh, nobody needs to see that. And take some deep breaths into your belly. This is an intense low back stretch, and sending your breath to your lower belly can help that sensation a little bit. One more inhale. One more exhale. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, release your right arm. Begin to twist to the left. So now we're shining our sternum past our left toes. And inhale here, create some space. Lift your crown up towards the sky. And exhale, fold over your extended leg. And again, left hand or hands are going to come where they're comfortable. So maybe they're reaching for our foot. Maybe they're on the mat by your shin or up by our thigh. Really listen to your body, especially if right now your body is experiencing back pain. Really tune in to what's happening as you go through these postures. You know your body best. Let's take one more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, let's rise back up. And exhale, let's release. So we're going to make our way onto our back body. So let's all face the short edge of our mat and take your time coming down. So maybe you're holding onto the backs of your thighs, or maybe you're reaching your hands or your elbows behind you, but we're going to slowly lower down until our full back body is on the earth, and then bend into your knees. So hug your knees to your chest and maybe rock a little bit from side to side. Sometimes that can feel like a nice little massage to your low back. And from here, we're going to plant both of our soles on the earth, knees still shining up towards the sky. And as you're ready, we're going to come into a supine or laying down figure 4. So we're going to cross our right ankle over the bottom of our left thigh. And before we start coming into the stretch, I want you to flex into your right ankle so that your toes are about 90 degrees from your shins. That's going to protect our right knee as we stretch into our outer hip. So if you're feeling this sensation, you can stay right here. Maybe we're pressing a little bit on our inner thigh to stretch deeper into our outer right hip. Maybe we're walking our left heel a little closer to our sitting bones. If you're not feeling enough sensation here, you can begin to reach around, grab the back of your left thigh and lift your shin to parallel with the earth. And from here you can play with pulling your thigh towards your chest. Still opening up through that right knee. And you should be feeling the sensation here in that outer right hip. Outer right hip, glutes, all those muscles that feed into our low back and can impact the way our low back feels. Take another breath in. Exhale, let's release. And we're going to make our way to the other side. So as you're ready, cross our left ankle over the bottom of our right thigh and find that leg position that feels good on this side. It might be the same position that you were in on the other side, or maybe it's a different variation. Begin to press and open up through your left hip. If it feels good, maybe we walk our right heel a little closer to our sitting bones. Maybe we reach around, grab the back of our thigh, and begin to pull our thigh towards our chest. Take some deep breaths here. We're going to pause here and just to really allow that hip to open up for a moment. Take one more breath in. And exhale, release. Plant both soles down on the earth, knees still shining up towards the sky. And we're going to come into a supine or laying down twist. And so let's find our arm position first. Either extend your arms out to a T, or you could bring your arms up to cactus arms. Wherever you're at, on an inhale, begin to press into the soles of your foot or both feet. Shift your hips to the left just a couple inches. Set them down. And then on an exhale, begin to drop your knees to the right. So our focus here is on keeping both of our shoulder blades rooted down into the earth. So sometimes it helps to shift your gaze past your left shoulder if you feel it kind of creeping up off the mat. Another thing that you might need to do is bring your knees up a little bit. And if that's the case, you can bring your blankets or maybe your bolster or your pillow underneath your bottom knee or between your bottom and top knee, and that might feel really nice here. Let's take a few more breaths here. One more breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, rise back up. And exhale, press into the soles of your feet to shift your hips back in line. So take a moment here to get settled. And then when you're ready, we'll take it to the other side. So on your inhale, press into the soles of your feet. Send your hips a couple inches to the right. Exhale, plant them down and drop your knees towards the left. So again, the first thing to check in on is how are your shoulders doing? If I feel my right shoulder starting to creep up off the mat. So I'm going to gaze past my right shoulder to help kind of cement it down there. And maybe this is an opportunity to bring those blankets or your pillow underneath your bottom knee or between your bottom and top knee. Sometimes that feels really nice here. Take a couple more breaths. On your next inhale, let's rise back up. And exhale, press into the soles of your feet to realign those hips. And we're going to make our way into Shavasana. So extend your legs long. Arms come down by our sides, palms up to the sky. Maybe you spread your legs a little bit wider maybe even to the width of your yoga mat. Let your toes roll out to the outside. Relax through the inner linings of your legs. Let your back melt into the earth, followed by your shoulders, your arms, backs of your arms. If you haven't done so already, close down your gaze. Relax through the muscles of your face, your jaw, your neck. And this is where I'm going to leave you today. Take as much time as you need. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.